Hello and welcome to Live and Local. My name is Nick Polkuski, and we're going to be talking all about how you can actually live stream an in-person event today on this episode of Live and Local. So thank you for joining us. I'm here with
Brian Lawton with Live Action Production.
Yeah, so I'm very excited because we've been doing live action production. We've been doing a lot of in-person events for different organizations here. And today we're just going to kind of give you that sneak peek behind the scenes of why you might want to do that and how to actually go about creating some of those events. I'm really excited to talk about this.
Yeah, we'll talk about what kind of event you can live stream, right? Why you'd want to take it to a live stream rather than just record it, and a lot of other good information.
Yeah, and right now we are still in the pre-show. You can tell that by the little number over there. I can never do the mirroring thing. But you can tell that by the little countdown timer. So when that countdown timer goes down, we're actually going to start the show at that point. And really now is just the time for us to make sure everything's working. We had a little bit of a hiccup earlier. So just making sure everything is working. And then it's a chance to hopefully engage with some of you and allow Facebook to get the word out. So my big question to you is, do you ever put on an in-person event? So are you speaking at Chamber of Commerce? Are you doing lunch and learns? Are you doing other things like that with an organization where you might be in front of people, whether it's a big group or small group? Just type it in the comments and let us know. So we are going to be getting started here in just a second. But Brian, have you ever done any of those type of speaking events before?
Done some of those speaking events, and I can see the use for live stream as part of that now, and I'm excited to have a conversation with you about just how local business owners, local business leaders can take the things they're already doing in their business and in their lives and then put it into live stream, and how that can help grow their business, help grow them professionally, and help the community too by getting more information out there.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a great episode, which we are going to start here in 1 second. So let's dive on in. How can live streaming an in-person event help you grow your business as a local small business owner? Well, we're going to talk about that all today on this episode of Live and Local. Hello and welcome to Live and Local. My name is Nick Polkuski, and I'm your host here today, along with Brian Lawton. And we're going to be talking all about how you can actually, as a small business owner, as a local business owner, whether it's financial planner, real estate, any of those areas, how you can actually grow your business by live streaming. That's what we're all about here on this show. I'm really excited for today's topic because we're going to be talking all about in-person events and how you can live stream those too.
Exactly. So we hope to learn a lot, and I think what we'll start with, Nick, is how or what kind of events can we live stream? If you're a community member, a local business owner, you're doing these things, these engagements, trying to develop business, trying to engage an audience, talk to an audience, contribute in some way to your future clients, your current clients. What are some ideas of events and how they could use live streaming?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. And it really, any time where you're kind of gathering a group of people together is an event really that you can live stream. I think the best workout when you are delivering some sort of information. So when you're, presenting or doing a workshop of some sort. And so an example would be a financial planner that is going out and doing a lunch and learn. Like that's a great opportunity to do a lot of live streaming to a wider audience. So you can go beyond those 20, 30 people that are in the room. Chamber of Commerce, if you have a regular meeting where you deliver some great information, you can live stream that guest speaker or live stream the speaker at that event. We just did one for a social media breakfast where they have a monthly meeting where it's an organization gathers a bunch of people together, and we can live stream the actual presentations in order to get that information out to more people. So I think those are just a couple quick examples.
Right. I'm thinking as you're talking about all the, for example, maybe a financial institution, a bank, or a real estate company, or these insurance companies that have seminars they put on for the community as well on a certain topic. I suppose that's another thing they could do, and it's part of what you're talking about as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We were originally kind of talking just about like individual things, but yeah, you could be any type of seminar, any type of presentation. If you're throwing even like a trade show or an expo, you have the opportunity to, it takes a little more planning, but you have the opportunity to put together something where, say, you have one booth there that is a dedicated like live streaming booth at that trade show,
Right.
and then you can bring in all of the vendors, and you're bringing in their audience as well, their following as well, and that's a great opportunity just to get exposure for your trade show or event.
Right. So talk to us a little bit about kind of that next level. So somebody thinks, okay, I'll try live streaming, or I'll get into this. I've got this event coming up. I'm going to do a lunch and learn and a talk for 20 or 30 minutes to a small audience. Talk to us about how a local business like that, if there's a leader in your business that's going to go do that, how do they take that live stream and use it to gain a bigger audience, to reach a bigger sphere of people?
Yeah. So, I mean, part of that is going to be just because you're getting only so many people are going to be able to ever attend in person at the actual location, maybe because of space or just travel, whatever it may be. But when you're out there live streaming it, it's going to, a wider audience, more people, and then the replay is going to live there. So that's something where you can just use, say you're going out to Facebook, you can use your Facebook, that live stream URL, and you can put that in email blasts afterwards. You can send that to several different people. You could take the video and put it on your website. Yeah, so you can do many different things to actually reach even more people and really get that message out there. And you always want to make sure you silence your phone when you're doing live streaming as well.
So again, now you've got somebody committed to saying, I'm going to try this. I get how to use it, why I would use it, where I would put it once I, cast it basically. So what's the equipment they need? How do they get set up to do something like this?
Yeah, there's really a few different ways you can kind of go about that, from the simpler end, the easier end, to the more full-on production. So just to give you kind of an idea, the simple end is going to be, just somebody holding your phone there. That's about as simple as it gets. Quality is down there as well. But then on kind of that high end is 2, 3, maybe 5 cameras, graphics, being able to play videos, being able to do lower thirds, being able to bring in comments, and really do a little more intimate, but basically a TV quality production. But if done the right way, it can still feel like a very intimate event, kind of the behind-the-scenes event. And all of that's about really thinking about your shots and thinking about how you're interacting with that live streaming audience as well. But when we're talking about just kind of getting started, I just want to really encourage people to, if you have to start with your phone, start there. The one big thing I would suggest is ideally get a tripod for your phone so you don't have, the whole shaky cam going on. We're not watching the Blair Witch Project or anything like that. The other big thing I would do is I would recommend that you get some sort of microphone, because that's biggest pet peeve with a lot of these like speakers who are live streaming their presentations is that you can't really hear them, or it's very echoey, or like it's just not a good quality. And one thing you can do is you could actually get a fairly cheap mic. Like we have one here that I'll show off. This is just the Samsung Go mic. And this is a great little mic. And it does a lot of really cool things, but really what it allows you to do is to have kind of that, you're basically putting on a wireless lavalier, and it's going to allow you to go in there and, wear that lavalier mic and really get high quality sound, and it plugs directly into your phone, and it has a little tripod adapter so it can screw right into a tripod, and then you can just set your phone up, have a nice mic going in there, and get at least decent quality audio and pretty good video.
Right. And so I think part of the fear people have as business owners or business leaders that want to go and live stream is that they're very concerned about the production of things, how it looks, what's the intro and outro, and cleaning all of the audio up, cleaning all the video up, and it's this kind of rehearsed sort of thing. And really, live streaming isn't about that at all. It's about just kind of that organic conversation or whatever the platform you're using, and that's kind of the beauty of it, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Nothing is going to go perfectly smooth with live stream. You're going to have phones that ring during the middle of the stream. Like, you're going to have things that happen that are make people feel more like they're actually there in person. That, I think, is kind of the big thing. It's not like some recorded thing that has been edited down and has been smoothed out and it's crystal clear, perfect. Right. It's you can do a very high quality production, make it seem, you can add in all those fancy things, but ultimately at the end of the day, it is live, and it is something that is a little more engaging because it's live, because there's going to be a few of those ums and ahs and those flubs and those mistakes and potentially a little bit of dead time while speakers change, and that is part of the big charm of it, I think.
Right. So how does a person structure it when they've devoted to it, they understand the equipment? That next step is, how do they even structure the event that they're going to be live streaming from a content flow perspective, or just, how do you work the camera while you're speaking? What is the structure of that?
Yeah, and I think part of that is going to depend on like what type of event it is and how it's kind of set up. Like, is this an event that you're just speaking at, that they're allowing you to live stream your individual part? Or is this an event that you're putting on and you can really craft what that looks like? So ideally, you have a little more opportunity to craft what that looks like. And if you can address kind of the live stream audience right away, right up front, like, that's going to be the best way to go about that, and really let them know that, hey, you're part of this event as well. What we will often do when we're working with clients putting on a production is we'll have, that 5-minute pre-show. Like, if you're watching this live stream, you likely saw the very beginning of that. We have at least a little bit of a countdown time or some pre-show.
Connecting with them.
Yep, exactly. And maybe your presenters can't necessarily do that.
Right.
But if you have one person running the live stream, or if you have one presenter who's able to come over and be kind of that host right away at the beginning, it's a great way to really get people involved. Because you also have to think that, especially at the beginning, people aren't necessarily going to know what your event's about. You want to try and get as much momentum going as possible right away, try to get some comments going right away, all of those kinds of things. So that's probably the biggest thing I would think about right away at the beginning when structuring an event, is how can we get the replay audience, because that's mostly who you're talking to initially, not necessarily live people, but the replay audience. How can we let them know what this video is about, maybe introduce them to what's going to be happening, and then kind of transition into the actual presentation. And then once you're kind of in the presentation, ideally, and again, it's going to depend on the event, say you have a presenter on stage who their whole thing is they're going through a solid 45 minutes of a presentation and then doing Q&A at the end. Ideally, you can at least bring some Q&A in from your live stream audience.
And that makes it more personal and real, like we're kind of talking about, which is the purpose of live stream, to give them that real life look into your business, your experience that you're trying to provide them. So it's a good personal touch, I guess, good advice. So then you talked about the replay, which is where you're going to get most of your audience. Maybe talk to us about repurposing then. So the live stream is done, and then we have this video that you want to use again. You just don't want to sit in space on wherever you live streamed, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or your website or whatever. That stuff can be used in a lot of ways, right? So it's very important to take them to the next step. What are those next steps?
Again, a variety of next steps depending on what works best for you. But a couple of examples is just repurposing it to the website. So putting it on YouTube, taking and embedding it in your website to kind of live there, sending it out as an email. The link to the replay either on Facebook or on the website. Another things you can do is actually potentially create like blog posts from that video and really distill some of the content that you learned from it. You can go through and potentially even get it transcribed. That could be start of, say, like a book or a longer blog post. It's all going to kind of depend. I like to see if they can be even built into some sort of nurture sequence that you may have. So maybe you have an email automation sequence already kind of set up that you're just helping to try and deliver information to people. Say you're that financial planner,
Right.
you have this kind of sales sequence where you're just nurturing people along. Well, maybe your Lunch and Learn live stream has some great content that you think they need to know.
Sure.
And you can send that out, link that out to them right in that sequence.
So repurposing into the three sort of contents, the video, and then you can strip the video out and just have audio.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you can go long form with the blog. And are there services that transcribe and stuff for you, or is that?
Yeah, a great one is rev.com.
REV?
rev.com. They will, I think they're $1 a minute, and we'll go through and transcribe everything. And they have some editors on there, and it's pretty solid.
$1 per minute of content, or
Yes,
their
correct.
time?
Yep.
So
$1
for
per minute.
$30, you can have somebody transcribe the whole thing.
A 30-minute. Yep.
That's great.
Presentation. Yeah, it works out well. Yeah, we'll use that quite a bit actually.
And then I want to rewind just a second. When we talked about structuring the event or that live stream, and then engaging with the audience, talk to us a little bit about engaging people as they come into the stream and are watching it live, and what do you do with that? How do you engage? What are some of the next level things you want to be looking for? Most of the audience is pretty basic and new to this, but then there's also some.
Yeah. So there's lots of different things. If you could have somebody else kind of managing your accounts, it could be as simple as them commenting as other people are starting to comment or they're noticing that they're coming in. Because if you're friends with somebody on Facebook, for example, then you can see when they join the stream and just simply saying, "Hey, great, thanks for joining us." Like that's a very basic one, but it does wonders. You can also say you're in the front of the room, you're presenting, and you just have your phone in the back kind of live streaming. If you're at that level, just simply bring in another device, whether it's a computer or an iPad, and occasionally checking comments. That's another great thing. And just responding to those comments, asking people questions, like have you ever seen somebody live stream a local presentation before? Let me know in the comments, yes or no. And, asking very simple questions is a great way to start getting some of that feedback. On kind of the little more complicated, kind of higher end level is you can actually, with the right software, you can bring those comments right on screen. So basically a lower third can come up and you can kind of show that on screen. And here, we'll quickly send one out to all of you so you can kind of see what that looks like, maybe.
So you're talking about comments. Talk to us about, as you're working on that, what are the importance of comments and how does that affect the live stream? What are the importance there?
Yeah, they're very important. And the reason is because that's really how you engage with your audience. Like that's the part that makes them go from being just a fly on the wall, like with no real connection to you and the stream, to actually feeling like they're a part of it, to feeling like they're
personal connection.
They're an actual participant. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So as simple as just asking them questions or answering their questions. If you can bring things on screen and just give them little shout outs, what you're going to do is you're going to make them feel a part of that stream, make them feel a part of that event. But then you're also going to encourage them to share it out to other people, and really just Facebook will see. So if you're on Facebook, for example, or YouTube, either of them, what they'll see is more people are engaging, more people are commenting, liking, and just participating. So their algorithm is going to naturally kind of send that out to more people as well.
Okay. And so you've got these people in the stream viewing your show, and then you're engaging them in the comments and stuff like that. How do you take that audience that watched it or the audience that watches it later and kind of convert them into your email system, your CRM, your top of funnel, whatever? Live streaming isn't a sales pitch necessarily. It's more of a soft sell. It's gaining an audience, getting some people to feel like you have some sort of expert status on something, or you have a lot of knowledge about something. So how do you continue to engage them after that?
Yeah. So I think there's multiple different ways. I'm sure if you're used to speaking in front of groups, at lunch and learns or any type of presentation, likely you've created some sort of call to action landing page, like some sort of ebook or any sort of kind of next steps where you can mention a URL and hopefully get people to convert from there. The same thing is going to work with live stream. You can have that very simple URL, liveactionproduction.com/event. And take somebody there to that landing page. That's not an actual landing page, so you don't need to try to go there. But it'll take somebody there, and then they can go through and sign up for your email list. There are a few extra things you can do when you're live streaming, say, to Facebook, for example. One of those things is you can kind of integrate Facebook Messenger bots. So an example of that would be to, say, type show in the comments. And if you type show in the comments now, what you're going to get is you're going to receive a Facebook Messenger bot that will then notify people whenever we have a new show. So it'll let them know that we're live every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Time. They'll get a little messenger notification. And so that's something you can set up for just about any Facebook stream. You don't necessarily need to be doing a higher end production with lower thirds and stuff to do that. What you would need is, say, if you are only using your phone, what you would need is someone else to activate the messenger bot. Because the way they work, you need to have a specific post that you can set the bot up for, which you're not able to do until you go live or till you schedule a post, schedule a stream.
Right.
With a third-party software, you can schedule a stream no problem. But with, say, your phone, you can't schedule a stream. Gotcha. So you'd have to have a teammate or somebody who's able to do just that.
So again, getting back to a basic audience, what are some pitfalls? Like, if you're setting up this live stream, what are some things that people should look out for as far as audio setup or, the sound quality, what the room is like? I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, definitely does. And the big one is number one is going to be internet. You need to have decent quality speed.
So the signal, right?
Yeah, the signal.
Down to that.
Yep,
that's my Wi-Fi connection. And that's something you want to work out ahead of time. As
absolutely.
Person live stream, make sure you have the best internet service you can. That's getting it from the event staff or whatever that is, a different password or.
Yeah, and you're going to want to speed test it out, and what you're going to really care about is that upload speed. If you're under 10 for your upload speed, it can be dicey.
How does somebody test that?
So speedtest.net is a great one. You can get the app on your phone and check it there. You can, or just simply connect to whatever signal you're going to be using and test it out. Go to Google and speedtest.net. Or just Google speed test, and you'll get an example. So that's going to be number one. And there's a few things you need to really think about just kind of regarding that is ideally go to the venue, test it out there. But also remember, if there are going to be lots of people there, there are potentially going to be lots of people pulling from that bandwidth. And so that's going to eat some of that up. So you're going to fluctuate and you're going to have lower bandwidth. And not necessarily be able to produce a high-quality stream. One thing that we like to use is a little device called the Live View. And really what that is this little box that allows us to tap into several different signals and create essentially a bigger live streaming pipe. Sure. So we can add 2 USB modems on different cell phone plans. Mm-hmm. So we can have a Verizon one and a US Cellular one, bond those together. We can also take places Wi-Fi. If they have free Wi-Fi, we can connect to that. And then if they allow us, we could, which we've done before, is take an Ethernet signal from their business side. There's a lot of venues, if they're used to putting on events, they'll have free general, right. This is what everybody attending gets to use. And then they'll have the business account.
And that's the one you want.
And that's the one you want because there's going to be less pull on that. Usually it's going to be faster anyways. But there's just not going to be as many people signed into that one. So the more dedicated internet signal you can have, the stronger internet signal you can have, the better.
So we talked about live streaming not being perfect, and then you're talking about all these other things that could go wrong, like the internet service and stuff like that. Do you have a story about live streaming gone, not bad, but that part of it of the live stream where there's errors, there's mistakes, and
Yeah. There's always going to be some sort of, almost always going to be some sort of error or mistake. Even we just live streamed social media breakfast. I think we've mentioned a couple times now, but that was just a couple weeks ago, so I remember it very vividly. Tested everything out. It was working just fine before the event. Like I said, we always go live, kind of with the pre-show, 5 minutes beforehand. Everything was going great. But as soon as we went live and it started sending it out to Facebook, we had some audio issues. And part of the thing with live streaming to Facebook especially is that, one, you can't really fully test everything. I think because everything is working, audio is perfect on the computer side, on the stream side before it got sent out. But there was some sort of audio issue where it's kind of looping back during the actual stream at the beginning. And one of the struggles with this Facebook especially is there is a big delay, or potentially a really big delay. So you're talking like 20, 30 seconds sometimes, where you can make an adjustment, but then you don't know if it worked until 20 or 30 seconds later. So you just need to make sure you have enough time and are thinking fast, but not doing anything too crazy. Ideally, test everything out ahead of time as much as possible to get things smooth. And luckily for the social media breakfast one, able to figure it out just in time for kind of the main presentation to really happen, which is good.
So talk to us a little bit about, you want to make sure people are not only watching your live event, so these lunch and learns that you're talking about might be, 20 to 30 minute long sessions, and then you want to get people into that live stream. So how does an owner or a speaker get people there? How do they announce that, hey, in a certain number of days or weeks in advance, like how does that work that you start generating an audience for the live stream?
Yeah, so for Facebook specifically, you can only schedule a stream up to 7 days out. So it can only be a week out scheduled.
Okay.
So generally, if it's a big event, I would recommend it scheduling it early, so that way you can do some of that promotion around it. So schedule the full week out. And then once you have that post scheduled, you can go into Facebook and you can grab that post URL. And the way you get that is simply on the post, click the time up there.
Okay.
And that'll take you to kind of that individual post, not just in your page feed. Grab the URL from there. And you can then email that out to people. You can do other Facebook posts around that, and you can drive all that traffic to that URL. And what they're going to see is there's going to be a get reminder button kind of in the middle of that Facebook post, and they just click that, and that's one way they can get notified. Facebook's fairly good at making sure they get notified, not 100%, but fairly good. So that's a good strategy, if nothing else, to at least do that. And then I would set up that email, send it out a week in advance, send it out the day before, send it out as soon as you're going live. Those are kind of the three I would definitely recommend, that you get people signing up ahead of time and then being sure that they remember this is happening, and then being sure that they join as soon as you go live, because you'll get a bunch of people who, as soon as you say you're live, they'll jump on that one.
Yeah, that's good.
And you can do that, and then you can do just your general posts across any of your social media platforms. What works really well is going live kind of before you go live. Right. So if you're setting up, grab your phone and do kind of just that behind the scenes selfie type live stream where you're live, just kind of talking to them the day before, or you're going on Instagram going live the day of, the morning of, as you're setting things up, talking to speakers potentially, and just kind of building that anticipation by letting them see kind of the behind the scenes. That works really well.
So, and then also if they're going from their business page to be interacting and engaging on their personal social sites as well. So some people have, they're new to it. They don't really have a big audience. It might just be the people they're standing in front of talking to. And when they go live, there's not really a big live stream. But there's other people that actually already have a significant audience. And so there's another level to this, right? That you could actually go behind a paywall so that people have to pay you to see your live stream as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Jump to that in just one second, but while we're still kind of talking about promotion, like if you have other people, say you're throwing the event and you have guest speakers, like use their social following as well. Give them access to that, tag them in the post so that their following also knows when that event is happening. But yeah, so we've been talking a ton about just the free
stuff,
version, which you can take all of kind of that free version and also put it behind that live virtual ticket. Basically, is what it kind of comes down to. So if you have a conference or an event where people are paying to attend, you're not just going to want to live stream the entire thing for free. You're going to want to charge something for that event as well. And that can easily be done with a few settings. You know, if you have some solid payment gateway and you have, say, like a membership sites where it's password protected in some way, shape, or form, you can just grab that embed code. Ideally, it's through like Vimeo Business, where you can actually protect it so that this video can only be played on here. But that is a paid account. So depending on your budget, that might not make sense for you. And depending on how worried you are about other people getting it, at the very minimum, you could also just do a live stream embed from Facebook on, say, like a random page, like set up a page just for this live stream or set up a YouTube channel just for this, and then live stream, grab that embed from YouTube and embed that there. But I would recommend be really protected. You get something like a Vimeo business account.
Nice. And so if somebody, just has the budget and doesn't want to have to deal with all these pitfalls that you're talking about, or engaging a pre-show audience and then engaging the during show audience, and then how do I follow up and repurpose all this content? What are their options for that?
Yeah, a few different options. There are companies out there that do this as a service. There's companies out there who will go set everything up for you, take care of it, both from the free side and from the setting up the payment gateway and running that. That's what we do here at Live Action Production. So we are kind of that full service. Let's talk through your marketing plan. How are you going to promote the event? What are the different things that you need to do to really get the word out? Let's talk through what the flow of the event should look like and from a live streaming standpoint to help it be as engaging as possible. Like
and different cameras and overlays and interactions during the event as well.
Absolutely. So usually our normal setup is bringing at least 2 cameras. One of them a PTZ, which means that it can pan, tilt, and zoom, so you can look like you have 100 cameras sitting there kind of going all over the place. And then designing the lower thirds and all of that to really make it more engaging, to make it more interactive, to bring in the comments from people if you are doing kind of that free event. And then really talking through, okay, does it make sense for, especially if you're a paid event, a lot of times that's usually a multiple day conference, potentially multiple breakout rooms. And ideally, your live stream audience is going to get access to all of that. Plus, I like to always have kind of exclusive content just for the live stream audience. And when we say exclusive content, usually I suggest that the live attendees also get all of the recordings and everything as well, so that they're still getting a bunch of value for being there live. But what you can do is have kind of a hosted live stream. So you'd have a host and then bring on all of the speakers and just do exclusive interviews, answer questions to them, because it can sometimes be hard to get a lot of live stream questions answered when they're up at the front of the room. This is just a great way to make it a little more intimate, a little more guided, and a little increase that ability to be real special for that live stream.
Any other tips and tricks you have for people looking to live stream for the first time or some more experienced ones?
Yeah, I would just say if it's the first time, just go out there and start live streaming, whether it's an event or just in kind of that in-person. Just look to add value to your audience and just get out there. You got to kind of get over that hurdle. It's still uncomfortable no matter how many times you do that. There's still a little bit of that rush of adrenaline before you hit that go live button. So just get used to diving into that, to embracing that, and really focus on the content that you want to share. How can I help these people who are watching, and that hopefully will minimize some of the nerves.
Yeah.
But then for the actual people, for the people who have done this several times, looking to go kind of that next level, I would say slowly build complexity and quality. And so slowly start to look to ways that you can increase the quality of things. Mm-hmm. How can I make this a little more engaging for your audience? That really should be kind of that big piece that you're looking. You still want to deliver great value, but how can we start getting more and more people engaged? Mm-hmm. Because by getting more people engaged, you're going to grow your audience, you're going to help more people, and it's just going to kind of continue to increase that cycle.
Well, thanks for all your expertise and information and on live streaming, and we hope the audience engages in that and tries it out in their own business, and it can be a valuable marketing tool and a learning tool and just kind of a professional growth tool. So appreciate all your insight.
Yeah, well, and thanks for being here and interviewing me. Right. This worked out well, I think. And just want to remind you again that we are live every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Time. So just jump on over and join us there. Or, of course, we're going to have all the replays and stuff available on the page as well. And lastly, if you are looking for help with your live stream, be sure to reach out. We are at liveactionproduction.com and look forward to seeing you next week.